Hi, I'm Michelle Fox. I know some of you have joined our group recently or been added to our group or invited to join and maybe don't even know what we're all about. But I'm a Mary Kay beauty consultant. I've been a consultant for 19 years. I've been a Mary Kay customer for about 35 years. And this group is a combination of customers, team members, other Mary Kay consultants in my life that we just share tips and encourage each other. I like to do videos occasionally, not just about the products, but different tips on how to apply them, maybe different ideas according to different age groups, I guess, and different skin types and that sort of thing. And I try hard to make it not so Mary Kay specific that let's say it like this. I recognize that not everybody is using 100% Mary Kay products. So I want this to be relevant and significant and benefit you no matter where you're at. So of course I use Mary Kay products in all of my demonstrations, but I try to give you enough tips and ideas and suggestions that you can apply it no matter what you're using. I hope that makes sense. But obviously, I think that Mary Kay would be the best product for you to use in all situations. But I will tell you, as I go through what products I'm using. And then my standard is that if you are inspired to purchase a product as a result of watching a video, you let me know that's why, or, I saw your video, I really liked, that, and that's why I'm getting it, and you'll get 10% off. So I've already moisturized. Like I said, it's take two. Using the Time Wise Repair Day Cream. This is what I use the repair system as my skincare, and I'm going to be using the matte foundation. So I want to definitely have a really nice layer of moisture on my face because the foundation is going to make my skin look matte, but I don't want it to look dry, and I don't want it to accentuate any dry areas. So I definitely want to moisturize, which I did. So then after I do that, I use the Value Firm Wrinkle Filler. We lovingly also call it the crack filler. It looks like this. And this delivers retinol palmitate and other ingredients, peptides and vitamins, right to the areas where your deepest wrinkles are. And you tap it in. And so since you're depositing it exactly where you need it most, it's going to be, delivering the ingredients, depositing the ingredients where you need it most, but it's also giving you an immediate boost. It's giving you an immediate effect where it smooths out the wrinkles because it fills them like caulk. That's the best illustration I can think of because my brain is like working on, half power today. Head cold and all. Okay, and then I also love the eye cream. And the eye cream is a little bit different in the sense that it has this metal head on it. So the Value Firm eye cream, eye renewal cream, I believe it's called. So I squirt it right onto the metal head. And then I don't put it on my finger or anything. I use this, which you're supposed to apply it to my eye area. The cool metal is going to help to shrink any swollen tissue. And it always feels cool. It's a property of this particular metal. And you go around your orbital bone. You don't go right up next to, the very edge of your eye. That's when the product goes into your eye and makes your eyes weep. You want to just stay right on your orbital bone because the warmth of your body is going to draw that in closer. So you'll be fine. Okay, I'm gonna do that on the other side. And I used to only do, on the outside and underneath, but I've been reading more about, that you can go all around. And as we age, we get crepey skin on our eyelids. And I'll tell you what, I want to address that as much as I want to address the fine lines and wrinkles out here. Okay, so I'm prepped skincare wise. I want to add my eye primer, which is not a skincare product. This is considered a color product. When you use a primer of any kind, it's to prepare, like a an artist might prepare his canvas by painting it first and then, you know, painting on top of it. And that first layer is providing something to build on. It smooths the surface and it gives depth to the colors that he's going to put on top of it. And similarly, the eye primer, I use just a tiny bit. And then I usually put it on my weaker fingers, my ring fingers, and share it. And so the eye primer is going to give your eye color something to cling to. It's going to help them blend better, and it's going to give you better color payoff. When you, if you were to like put some primer on the back of your wrist and compare the color to a section, you know, put the primer, put some eye color there, and then put eye color without primer on a different section, it would look slightly different. And so it has lots of purposes. But you want to make sure that you're not using too much and that you get it blended in really well. Okay, so I'm prepped. All right. Okay, so I am using currently the Time Wise 3D Matte Coverage Foundation in N150. It's really a big help when you understand your undertone, because when you have a foundation that matches you very specifically, it's not only really flattering, it's very natural, of course. And so the more it looks like your real skin tone, the easier it's going to be to cover any imperfections. And our foundation, you can layer. So you put it on and, you know, let it set. And when it's dry, you can actually apply a second layer. And if you don't need a second layer all over, you can only apply it to the area where there's still some discoloration. And so if it's a real natural color, you know, a perfect match, it's just really simple to do your face, basically. So this is N150. It is matte. I use the blending brush. The blending brush gives probably the fullest coverage for these new foundations. We do have a traditional foundation brush. We have a foundation sponge. And, you know, of course, you can apply it with your fingers. That's fine too. And we have powder foundation, and we have a powder foundation brush for that as well. But I like a heavier coverage. The older I get, the more coverage I need. So you put it on here, and then my technique, I want to get the, you know, the bulk of the color off right away. So I kind of do like 5 spots, you know, like that. And then I like massage it in wide swipes all over. And it's really fast and easy. And I have to tell you that this brush is harder to clean than a lot of other brushes because of the nature of foundation. It can really work its way in there. But I just really love the effect that this brush has with the foundation. I don't feel like I'm losing a lot of product because, you know, I watch how much I put on, and I put as much on the brush as I would use on my finger. So somehow, even though there's foundation getting deep down in the bristles, and I need to, you know, clean this every, you know, week or two, I do not feel like I'm wasting product. I really don't. So I don't know. I wish the product didn't get down in there, but I think it's just the nature of the beast. You know what I mean? Okay. So if you have a good match, you shouldn't need to do your foundation below your jawline. The phrase I've heard is skincare to the bra line, foundation to the jawline. Yes, you can do skincare on your neck and even your chest, because we start, as you can see, to get to some discoloration and wrinkles and crepiness on our chest area as well. So you can use skincare here, but you should not need to put your foundation that far down. Okay. And then I keep this handy because since it does have some product left on it, I'll go back under my eyes later. Usually, I don't even need concealer, but we have awesome concealer. if I don't see anything that needs it, obviously, well, a little bit. So let's say I'm going to put some here and here, but I also always do like a little arrow under my eyes just to brighten that area. But for that, I like to use my sponge. The area where I'm using concealer for discoloration, I use the fat end of the sponge so that it doesn't pull the color off. So I'm just basically pressing it in. So I'm using the fat end of the sponge to press it in. And then I use the pointy end of the sponge when I'm working up by my eye area because I want to be a little more precise. I want to get right up in there by the tear duct and I want to get all the way across. And everything that we have, all of our products, are ophthalmologist tested, hypoallergenic, safe for contact lens wearers. So even though I am working really close to my eye, I have never had a problem, you know, with my eyes watering or having any issue like that. Okay. Now at this point, normally if we were having an appointment, I would have you use the translucent loose powder. And this, you could use one of two ways. You can dip a flat brush into it and then press, and that's going to help set your powder. Or you can use a big fluffy brush and kind of just, you know, all over. And that just gives you a lighter application, and it's more for just the soft look. This will absorb excess oil, and it's primarily to give you that soft light effect. But since I'm doing the matte foundation, sorry, I want to be careful not to use too much powder or too many things that are going to be matte. So I'm going to use my finishing spray 2 times. I'm going to use it now, and then I'm going to use it again when I'm done with the color. So finishing spray, again, just sets your color, your look, your foundation. Right now we're setting the foundation. Enough said about that. Okay, and we're going to get cooking with some color. When I do appointments, I always start with the eyes, but when I do my own face, I start with my cheeks. I don't know why I'm like that. I just do it. And, should I don't think I can wing it. Okay. Okay, so when I do my face, I like to use the contour along my cheekbone, and then I use the color on the apple of my cheek. That has to do with the shape of my face. Most people are going to do the color, you know, along the cheekbone, and then do the contour, just a real skinny line, like underneath. I do notice during my appointments that our contour can look kind of muddy and kind of messy if you're not careful. So you need to think of the contour as really, you know, kind of carving out. You are, you know, like a laser specific. You know, the goal is to, like, you know, make this area kind of look pushed in almost. And so you don't want to, like, just be going hog wild with it. You don't want to apply it the same way that you're applying your loose powder or your cheek color, okay? Now for me, even when I use it as cheek color, I still use a fairly skinny brush, and I'm still careful just to keep it like right on the cheekbone. Like I'm not making a very big line with that. Okay. I'm just now noticing that I go from here to here, even though I instruct people to go from here to here. I don't think I've ever noticed that before. I wonder why I do that. I think I I only do that with the contour. Learn something new every day. Okay. And then my cheek color. You usually want to have it on the apple of your cheek. I feel like I don't have a lot of space between the apple of my cheek and my nose. So like if I really put it on there, like I just feel like it would be too close to my nose. So I usually put it more toward the outside. It's still, kind of the same idea, but instead of smack dab in front, it's more off to the side a bit. I just don't like it. I don't like my face to look crowded in the middle. And you just learn these things, as you do your own makeup. So it's like a dot in the middle. So I have like my stripe, my dot. And so now I'm going to kind of blend them to soften them up. Same thing, I kind of go off to the side a bit. And my brushes, I'm sure you're thinking, wait a minute, that's a purple brush. Wait a minute, that had a red handle. What's going on? I've been acquiring brushes for a long time. So I've got some limited edition Mary Kay brushes. I've got some Robert Jones brushes. He was one of the makeup artists that we, worked with for several years. So this is literally what I do every day. So that is my story. For contour, or not the contour, for the highlight that we have, Mary Kay has, is shimmery. And right now, since I'm doing a matte look, I don't really want that. But I still want to highlight. So I have a really, really light pressed powder. So I've applied that to a smallish cheek color brush. And I'm going to do that just a little bit above where I did my cheek color. And it's not very obvious, which is a good thing. It shouldn't be very obvious. You should really only see it like in certain light and like when you turn your head certain ways. If you can like see it full on at all times, you've gone overboard. So right along here. And that's another thing that I think people struggle with the highlight is they put on a little too much and then they don't love how that looks. But it's you just have to get the hang of it, really. And it is very pretty, and there are so many things you can do with your highlight once you can Google it and see what all you can do. But then I also do my forehead and down my nose, tip of my nose, and my chin right here. And there are lots of suggestions on how to highlight and contour according to face shape, and we can talk about that another time, or you can look it up on our page. All right. Then I take a big fluffy brush and I just kind of blend it all. Especially in this middle section that I told you I don't like to have too much color, like right in the center. I just make sure that is true. I don't know what it is. I just like to have, I like this area right here to still be my foundation color. I don't want to have cheek color that goes all the way to my nose. That for some reason I just don't like how that looks. All right, so that's that. I think my hair's falling out a little bit. All right, so for the eyes, I'm going to show you how I do it and how I was taught to teach people for a long time, but I've noticed that the last several like pamphlets and cards and catalogs have not been showing this technique. So take it for what you will. This is how I do it, but obviously there are newer thoughts out there. But I like to highlight under the brow bone. I think that it's just really flattering. I like to accentuate the brow bone. I think it also can accentuate your brows. So if you're going to take the time to do your brows, you might as well take the time to accentuate it. But I've noticed that a lot of the looks right now don't have color up there at all. So I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind at some point. But I put my lightest color, I'm using Blossom, and I really pack it on. And then I go under my brow bone. And I'm like push, 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 push. I'm not even really like doing a feathery stroke. I'm more like pressing it in because it's a light color. Now let me show you the difference. Let's say on this side, I just like did this. Brushed it. I don't know if you can see, but you know, one side the deposit of color is heavier and thicker and more opaque, and then the other side it's sheer. That doesn't mean one's right and one's wrong. It means that I like my highlight color to really stand out. So if you want your highlight, your lightest color to stand out, you need to like press it rather than do a fluffy brush with it. So go back and like press it. So I do it high, and then I also do it on my lid, the almond shaped part of my lid. Now here's a new thing. I know you get tired of hearing it. I get tired of living it. My eyes are hooded with age. That's such an expression. As we age, no matter what your eye shape is, the like this flap of skin starts to loosen and starts to hang down. And so we lose, it covers up part of the mobile part of our eye, and it also covers up our crease. You know, camouflages our crease, so to speak. So a couple of strategies. One is to get more of that almond-shaped part of my eye back visually. I not only go up to where like it ends, you know, in my crease literally, but I'll take it up, you know, maybe like 1/8 of an inch beyond that with the light color. You see that? And I know it looks weird when you're looking at it with my eye closed, but you don't know it when I'm all the way done. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in a sec. So at this point, I've got underneath my brows, you know, the almond-shaped part of my eye, a little bit, and a little bit oh my goodness, I'm telling you. A little bit above that, so that there's just really like a real skinny strip of skin that's not, you know, that doesn't have any color on it at this point. Okay, and that's what I want. So now at this point, you can do two different ways. I guess I'll do it both ways too, so you can see the difference. I'm going to use a mid-tone, and a mid-tone is usually a fleshy color, so it's going to be a beige or a pink or a taupe or a brown, like a walnut, or, you know, something of that nature. I'm using a dusty rose, and you can take the skinnier and the tighter the bristles, the skinnier the head and the tighter the bristles, the more the deposit of color, you know, the more, the darker, the bolder it's going to be. The fluffier and looser the bristles, then the lighter that deposit's going to be. So I'm going to show you the difference again. So on this side, I'm going to use, you know, the tight one. And I'm going to do like a windshield wiper to do my, what is this? My crease. Oh my gosh. But like you can see, like that's not obviously where my crease actually is. I'm starting way out here, and I'm coming in here, and I'm using that, you know, thick bristled brush. So that looks weird, but that's okay. That's another thing. People panic and then they start, you know, erasing it. But there are steps that look weird. So you have to just kind of leave it be for a second. So I'm doing this on purpose because I'm creating a different eyelid. I'm creating a different crease. I'm making my crease higher because when I open and shut my eyes, my real crease can disappear. So I need to work with that. But let me show you the difference with the different brush. So the same color, but with a fluffy brush in the same area. And that one is like already ready to go. It's done. So I actually prefer this. Why? Well, I like to be in control of where the color goes. Because like I say, I'm creating where my crease is. So I just have like a strategy. So I want to start out in the corner, come along, come into this area here, and then I do, come back with it and kind of feather it a bit. I don't want it to look too severe the whole time. So now this is when I start to soften it. But I still want you to be able to really see the difference between my highlight and my mid-tone. This one, it's more subtle. I mean, you can still see it, but it's subtle. This one is more dramatic, and I'm always more of a dramatic person. But the more you blend, then you're kind of taking some of that, I don't want to say some of the drama away because it's still going to look dramatic, but that harshness. So that's what I say, don't panic. Like when you first lay the color down, it's going to be all right. So then from out here, I'm going to bring that color down toward my lashes as well. So now I kind of did like a little wedge. I'm not even worrying about the wedge over here because I just did whatever, it's good enough for now. But this side, since it's so obvious that it ended way over here, I need to do something. I'm kind of bringing it down, and then I'm feathering it in a bit. Okay. And you can see that I still have like that area above my mobile lid where there's like that really light color. See what I'm talking about? I'm leaving that alone. I don't want to cover that up with this. I want to keep that so that it looks like my lid is bigger. Okay. Okay, and then, so that was Dusty Rose. So I've used Blossom and Dusty Rose. And then this is Mahogany. Usually I would use Merlot, but Merlot has carmine in it, which is an ingredient that I'm sensitive to. And if you find that there are certain colors that make your eyes itch, ask yourself if they tend to be reds, pinks, or purples. And if the answer is yes, you're probably sensitive to carmine, and we can talk. All right, now I've got another tight bristled short brush with my dark color. So we'll do a couple of different things with this. I have heard that as your eyes get droopier, that instead of making a wedge or a triangle, to make a 7, because the 7 has like kind of the short top and then like a longer angle, so that the point is higher. As we age, things get lower, so we want everything to like go higher. We want it to point up. So I'm making a 7 out here, rather than just a true triangle or like a wedge or piece of pizza or whatever. It's more of a 7, short and then long. Does that make sense? Now for this like really soft and already kind of soft one, you could just leave it like that and not put a third color, which is what probably most people would do. Or you could just take like sort of a bigger, fluffier brush than the one that I just used, and just kind of go in that outer area and just kind of tap softly a little bit of your dark color. Again, being careful not to go crazy. You want to have control of where you're putting it. So you want to keep it in that outer area, and you want to keep it kind of high. And then after you've got most of the color off of the brush, then you can start to kind of feather it in a bit to blend it. So you've got 3 colors, but it's not super obvious or super dark or super dramatic. A lot of people are afraid to use that third, really dark color. Now this side I'm not done with. It's not gonna stay like that. Oh, here's, okay, so I'm gonna use the same kind of brush and go over here, and I'm going to just stay right in that area, and I'm just going to go over it and over it without dragging the color into any other area, but I'm doing the same thing in terms of taking that deposit of color and spreading it around so that it's not a 7 anymore, but then I'm blending it into that whole area, filling in that triangle. And then as I feel that I've done that, like I don't really have any blank spaces, and I've gotten the product off of this, then I'm going to start moving this in toward the center to blend it as well. Okay. Something that I've learned recently is that as much as I like to have, you know, strong lines, I also really like the look where it just kind of like it just fades away gradually, like where you can't even really tell like where it stops. If you look at models in magazines and you look at their makeup, it's blended so seamlessly that you can barely tell like where the colors meet and or where the color ends, you know, that kind of a thing. So I've been thinking about that, like how do you know, do a dramatic eye but still have that, you know, softness on the edge. So what I've been doing is taking a clean brush, and on the very edge I've just been, you know, I don't move it a whole lot, but I'm just taking it like right on the edge and I'm just brushing it. My goal being to just get that harsh edge off. I still want to have like the light, medium, dark. I still want to have everything in the same general area, but I just want to get the real super, you know, sharp edges off. And then also I kind of bring it up a little bit so that it's not so severe where the light and the dark meet up by my eyebrow. And then can you kind of see how it like all of a sudden it just kind of blends like a sunset. So now they look kind of similar, don't they? I think I'll put a little bit more color over here so I don't look too cross-eyed or anything. So I guess ultimately it kind of gave a similar look. But like I said, you don't have to use 3 colors. Just because I always do, it's not like necessarily a, you know, a rule. And then I take this brush, if it's, you know, at this point it's not that clean anymore, so I'm going to wipe it off a bit. But then I'm going to go in this inside area and kind of clean this up too. Make sure that there aren't any harsh edges. That if I got color, again, too close to my nose, I'm getting rid of that. I'm blending so that where one color meets the other, it's a little more seamless. And then the trick is to get them to look the same. But it's art and science. And it's what looks good to you. And a lot of the time I'll do my brows first so that I have a better guide as to where to start and stop my color. But I'm going to do my brows now. I do love our precision brow liners. they're just a game changer. I like the ones that have like the brush on them too. I always forget what they're called. They're almost like they're like little mascara wands for your brows. But I just like the liner. It's just simple. And I actually use dark blonde. I don't like a really dark, I've tried the brunette, and I know I should like the brunette, but I just always feel like it looks too harsh. And and I have a weird way of doing my brows. I go backwards. I just find that when I go this way, I feel like I end up pushing the hair down, like matting it down. And then when I go back with a brush or comb and pick it back up, then I take some of the color off. So I'm like, well, what happens if I go the other direction? And so I just have found that it works for me. So, you can try it. But the official way that you're supposed to do it, you're supposed to line underneath, and then you're supposed to just do like short feathery strokes. Go in the right direction. Not direction I go. Yeah, I don't know why I do this. I just feel like it looks more natural when I do it this way. And then I do like at the end, then I'll do my feathery strokes. Because I don't want it to look too precise. I want it to look natural. Like hairs. So if your brows are really super bare, again, just color, draw. I used to kind of make fun of people that drew their eyebrows in. But basically, ever so carefully, kind of draw what you want your eyebrow to look like and fill in the bare patches. If you have no actual hairs there at all, then probably using that mascara type wand would be good because that deposits some fibers to fill in the actual bald places. I don't so much have bald places as I have like really, really light or really thin places. But there are a variety of things you can do. Then you can also take powder. I love hazelnut just to put the powder on there to kind of finish that off as well. And let's see, where's my spoolie? I use this spoolie, that's what it's called, to kind of brush that out a little bit in case I got anything laying down the wrong way. Okay. How do I want to line my eyes? I've been lining my eyes differently. I like to use the pencil liner. We have really cool, like an inkwell that's a gel liner, and we have a liquid liner pen. But lately, I've been using just shadow to line with. But even that, you've got a variety of brushes that you can choose from. I think I'll use this. On the other end of the spoolie brush is a liner brush. Whoops, I just threw that. And I really like it because it's super skinny, so you can be really precise. And it, it's really stiff so that it's not, sometimes if the brush is too loose and you're putting powder that close to your eye, the powder can like flick up into the white of your eye, and then that's irritating, and it stays irritating for like a long time. So I get like the biggest deposit of color, and then I do the top first because I never used to do the top, but actually I've heard that it's more important to do the top than bottom, although nowadays it's really a free-for-all. It's like whatever you think looks good. But I like to do the top really, really, really close to my lids, or to my lashes. It helps to make my lashes look fuller. And the reason I didn't do it before was because I didn't know how to get really close, and I didn't like, the way the line looked, because I would always have the line and then there'd be like that little bit of skin in between, where I had my line and where my lashes were. But now that I'm getting better at getting this right up in there, I do like it. And this brush does make that pretty easy to do. And then I don't like a really dark line underneath, so I don't put any more product on. I just kind of use the same brush and go under. And I go about 2/3 of the way. And then I'm going to use this to kind of finish up and make sure everything is going up in the direction that I want. So I went under. I'm going to, let's see, kind of bring this up and just tie this all in. You know what I mean? So I'm bringing this up, smoothing everything out. Making sure that nothing is like too far outside the lines. You want your color to be between the corner of your eye and the corner of your eyebrow. So I did pretty well there. Might want to put a little more color right here, like, let's see, brow color. Okay. Okay, and then remember how I said to keep this handy? So this is when I come back and go under here. I want to make sure that I don't have any stray eye color. And I also just like to have that moisture from the foundation one last time under my eyes. So, before I do my mascara, I do another spray of this. And I've been using the Lash Love Lengthening. We have several kinds of mascara. Lash Love Lengthening has a curved wand. And it's curved so that it's really taking it all the way to the very end. The Lash Love line of mascara has like the really tiny bristles so that it's catching every tiny baby hair. We also have Ultimate Mascara that lengthens and thickens. That's the one that I use at most appointments. And we have Lash Intensity, which gives you those, really long false eyelash looking lashes. It deposits fiber to your lashes. And that's a lot of fun too. I would say that's probably what most consultants use, but I just really like this. It's easy to apply, and I think it's flattering. You start at the base, you can wiggle it to make sure that you kind of get in there, and then you take it all the way to the end. Wiggle it, take it all the way to the end. And then I usually use the tip to get the, the real tiny hairs, tiny lashes out here. And then what I've been doing, since my lashes underneath are so short, I flip it and use like the bump. I don't know if you can tell what I'm doing, but I use like that part that rises up, and just to try to just barely touch those baby hairs. But even when you make a mistake, it's really, really easy to correct. So I'll show you that too. Mistake meaning like when you get that on your skin. And since this is a really smooth consistency, this kind is easy to do 2 coats if you want to. I don't usually do it because I don't feel like I need to. But there are a lot of mascaras that when I've tried to do 2 coats, I feel like it starts to look clumpy. And that's not the case with this kind because it's just such a smooth, just a nice, sort of a thinner consistency, so that that first coat goes on nicely and it is ready for a second coat if you want to. And some people will put this on first and then use a different type of mascara as their second coat. So use either the Ultimate or the Lash Intensity as their second coat. So many options. And then if I feel like I'm not getting it, then I do use the tip of this thing. But that's when I end up getting mascara all over the place like I just did. But I'll show you something cool. Do this side too. Shoot. Okay. The cool thing is this. That when the mascara dries, it is sort of like laying on top of your skin. So what most people do is when they make a mascara mistake, they right away while it's still wet grab a Q-tip or something and swipe at it, and then you're smearing that wet mascara all over your skin and making it worse. But if you just let it dry completely, leave it alone, then since it's like a solid instead of a liquid and it's resting on your skin, you can just take your Q-tip and just kind of flick it off. Sort of like how your toenail polish, after you take a shower, like along the edge of your cuticle on your toes, how it looked really bad at first, and now all of a sudden that's gone. It's that kind of magic. And I love a good Q-tip. Then I just take the other side of this. I go through and see if there's any, if I feel like there's any place that's maybe a little too concentrated, like a little spot that's darker than the rest, and I don't like that. Or if I feel like I, maybe did go outside the lines a little too much or whatever. Or I didn't, diffuse it enough along the edge, I can do that there, whatever. Okay. And then one last thought. I don't always do this, but this is kind of cool. To put like a shimmer right in the middle of your lid can have a really neat effect. I don't use shimmer very often, but I just saw a YouTube video where the girl was showing that it's the best way to apply that when you want to put that little bit of shimmer right there is with your finger. So I just put some, I think this is golden mauve, on my middle finger, and I'm just going to put that right in the middle of my lid, just to highlight that middle area with a little bit of shimmer. not a big deal. Not changing anything really. Just adding a little some. Now, if you had something really light and sparkly like crystalline, this would really have a wow effect. But I'm just doing just a little simple something. Dang, I still have this over here. Let me put my glasses on. Can't really see what I look like. And then I have not been using lip liner. I used to use it, religiously, but I think just because I've been using just such a variety of lip colors and different lipsticks, and I use lip gloss sometimes, and I don't know, it's just I'm always doing something different every single day. And so I just kind of got away from, I used to line it and do a lipstick and then do a gloss on top, and it was like that was my routine. And now I'm doing something different all the time. So I'm not doing a liner today. This is the Spice of Life lipstick that is limited edition for fall and holiday. And so I'll use that, I think. And I had said before that it reminds me of suede lipstick that we had. And this is also matte. And it has like a really interesting smell. It smells kind of sweet. But our matte lipsticks are still really creamy. Like, when I think of matte, I think of dry, and it's not the case at all. Like really, really creamy. So that looks really pretty. That's nice. So what I like about this is that depending on what you're wearing it with, it can take on more of a berry or a brown or a red look. So I've got black on and sort of purpley eyes, so I wonder what color. It should look more of like a berry red. I don't know. I think maybe it does. Alright. So that was a little crazy. I don't know. I'm telling you what, maybe I shouldn't have even done it because like I said, I'm not running on all my cylinders here. But it was just fun to do something other than lay on the couch today. So thanks for watching. If you have questions,